What is going on? Welcome to GoldBoys Live. It's just me and Josh today. We're going to save the World Series preview. We talked about a lot yesterday, so we're going to talk a lot more about the NBA tonight. NBA yesterday, some crazy things happened, and then also the Thursday night football game. As always, we appreciate our sponsors, Pickett Sports and Sleeper Picks. Josh, what's going on?
What's up, man? Everyone taking off Thursdays except for your boys here are gonna grind out some stuff.
Yeah, and
Thursday
I
night
got
football, not tickling my fancy, not getting real horny for it.
so
But
you have no
I
props for it, right?
definitely, yeah. I mean, yeah, you can always find some. This is definitely
Yeah,
gonna be a prop filled show. I can see that we're not gonna be forced to take sides like Will always tries to make us do. But
yeah.
we'll
Well,
talk about some props, and then yeah, some basketball stuff because at least it's like probably gonna be at least one good game, and then Booker and Beal probably not playing that Suns game,
yeah,
so
it's
we'll see
gonna
how fun that is.
honestly, it's gonna be fun to see. Same with like 2 days ago or whatnot. I think it's fun to watch the NBA to start the year, and credit to people. I saw people that went 13-2 or 12-4, whatever it is, like with prop yesterday. I had 3 bets, went 2-1, did all right with it. But I love the first week of NBA because I don't bet as much volume, but I just like to see how teams flow and how new people go. So it'd be cool to see Dame in the uniform today. It was cool to see Holiday play for the Celtics, even though I love Drew Holiday and seeing him in that different green was just kind of painful. But I do think it's one of those things where I think I watch basketball more than 99% of people. And even yesterday with 12 games, I can't tell you that me and my brother would tune into a game and be like, who is that? Like, like there's like that first game where you're going to have more of those reactions than normal, where you're
Yeah,
going to see people
well,
be like, oh, who is that?
yeah, totally. You're gonna see people you don't know, and you're gonna see guys getting minutes that you're like, whoa, that dude's playing 30 minutes now, or some dude that
Yeah.
like isn't playing as much as you thought he might. All these things like just kind of stand out to you because especially when you play props, you're looking for minutes. You're looking for guys who can beat who are on the floor because
Yeah.
if you're not on the
Or
floor, you can't
vice
get my
versa. You're
check.
looking for guys that don't have it. I mean, the good thing is, like I said, it was 2-1 yesterday, but they're all sweat free. Like the sweat free loss or the sweat free wins because I said on the show yesterday, Jaron Jackson had like 8 points, 5 fouls. I mean, there's just spots where you want to feel it out, and I don't know how he's going to play in that role. So we'll see how that goes going forward. But I do think there's more
Yeah.
value in the start of the year as long as you get your spots right.
Yep. Yeah, for sure, for sure. That's definitely I find a little bit more of it in football. I think sometimes there's just incorrect lines on football because there's so much to take account of that it's hard to kind of be like, well, this team's bad or good or whatever. But with basketball too, it's like we already have dudes sitting out in week one or game one rather, game two even
Yeah.
at this point.
Well, that
So
load management
yeah,
new rule really already settled in when everyone's already resting.
such a joke. You're gonna tell me that Devin Booker doesn't have a sore foot and then find the team? Like Devin Booker has a sore foot, whatever. Like if it was a playoff game, you think Devin Booker would be playing tonight? Of course. But yeah, they're
Yeah.
they're not gonna be able to do anything with it. So
Someone in the chat already is mentioning Wemby's blocks. Yeah, Wemby had what 17
coming
fouls in the
for
first.
me. That was my play.
Yeah,
He's coming for me.
yeah, I know. Wemby had like there is something nice
Hard to block
about
people
not.
when you have 5 fouls in the first two and a half quarters or
Yeah,
whatever.
that was one of the things too. Is one of my plays was foul trouble. Foul trouble is so killer if you have an over, but at least you get to go to bed earlier. Because once you get those 3 fouls in the first 2 or 3 quarters, one
It
or
was
two
done.
quarters, it's just really tough to play the game of basketball when you can't play the game of basketball. So it does definitely screw things up. Yeah, no, also screw the boost. Yeah, someone said, well, his basketball cue last night was awful. So many dumb fouls. Yeah, I was watching it. There's nothing more, and it's the same thing. I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but same with Jaron Jackson. I was telling this yesterday. I actually like him as a basketball player, and I also hate him more than anybody in the world. He just does not have any control of his body, and like that was the same thing with Wemby yesterday. Is if you get that initial foul or two, you have to start being more graceful. And I don't know. Sometimes they just don't know how to manipulate their body in a way to defend without fouling. Because that's kind of what Wemby was doing. Is
For
he
him, it
was
was a
kind
lot
of
of moving his feet, yeah, and
yeah.
then just
He didn't
not
set his
moving his
feet
feet, swinging his
once.
arms.
Yeah, he's
Well, and
got long
also
arms.
he's got long arms, and I think
You gotta use them.
the lesson is, yeah, you use them, but, like, don't jump. You don't need to jump. There
Yeah,
are there are
you're
a
9 foot
handful.
two. Like
That's what
yeah,
I'm
you're
saying.
not.
There are a
Yeah,
handful of guys that you might need to jump to block their shot sometimes. But, like,
yeah,
Jokic, if he doesn't body him, which he will, Jokic is gonna body him underneath the rim, he'll hit his head on the basket, but, like,
yeah.
other than that, yeah, you block everybody without jumping, dude. Just relax, so
Yeah, someone said
but
he gave
yo,
him 4
Cheddar Cheese talking
fouls.
about Derek Lively.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, did he look good? Mea culpa, because part of my reasoning for the Wemby pick yesterday was he's going up against Derek Lively. Derek Lively looked good as a starting center. If he's good, the Mavs over. Mavs to be better than
Yeah.
people think basically is going to be something that I'll keep an eye out for because they're so easy to trash right now that like maybe the pendulum has swung too far. If their role players are okay, we'll see. But real quick too before we move away from that game, then we can get into football before we do basketball, whatever you want to do. But I hit, I think I showed you guys the ticket. I hit Devin Vassell, most improved player after like 2 quarters last
He
night.
looked good.
What I saw was he has the confidence to be like, I'm going to have the highest usage on this team. Let me be very clear. And I'm going to shoot with a hand in my face. I'm going to take long twos. I'm going to shoot everything because I was probably in a gym somewhere locked away for the entirety of the summer shooting jump shots to be that good. Off the dribble, my dude is a problem. It was fun to watch Devin Vassell. So I hit him at 40 to 1 with $100.
Yeah, Cheddar Cheese also said that Luka looks in better shape and less puffy. I said the same thing yesterday. This is the first offseason I've seen him come in shape. So we'll move on to the games
True.
tonight. I think that's
Good
the way to
call.
do it because we just talked about a lot of NBA. And last thing I'll say is if we talked about live betting yesterday, if you were wondering some live betting trends, it's the first game, but it still feels like you can live bet against the Clippers in the fourth quarter because that team, no matter how big their live spread going to the fourth quarter is plus 28.5, and I took it. I mean, minus 28.5. So I took the
Yeah.
plus for the Blazers.
28.
That Clippers team, no matter how much they're up, that fourth quarter, they just always seem to decline. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like if they're down, they weirdly always seem to play up, but if they're up, they just seem to rest everybody so early and they don't have the depth to really put that together. So I do think it's interesting.
Yep.
Classic NBA scheduling. We had 12 games yesterday. It was almost impossible to watch. So many good games to try to flip through. So today they reward us with just a TNT game. So we have two games. We have the Sixers and the Bucks, Suns and Lakers. How many props do you already have in this?
I have, let me pull this up. I have, well, 4 players and 5 props. Five props. No,
Okay,
4 players and 6 props because I have 2 for a couple guys.
that's not bad.
Um, so yeah, if we're jumping into NBA first, the game that I'm betting on more is the one with the players that are playing in it, other than James Harden, which is your team and the Bucks in Milwaukee. The game theory I'm going here with, first of all, Brolo, just Brolo, because he plays when Embiid plays. He got his job when they play this team is guard Embiid on defense, so he's closer to the basket getting rebounds, which I'm staying away from the boards with him, but still, that's why he gets more boards too against this team. And then pull Embiid away from the basket when you're on offense and shoot threes. And that's what he does. And that's why he's gotten over this prop in 7 of his last 8 for the 13.5 points. That's really easy for me. And then I thought about doing stuff with the combo, but like he doesn't get the points, he doesn't get the combos because I'm not going to rely on him to get like
I
8
mean,
boards or whatever.
he can also he's also a guy that can get like three threes and also score
Dude,
9
the 2
points.
threes, this felt like a trap. The over 1.5 threes was
Yeah,
plus 155 last night. It
yeah.
probably dropped a bit, but, like, is that they feel like they're just putting a hook in my mouth and being like, "Come take this." He's
No,
he's
yeah.
hit all he's hit this in 6 of those 8 games where he's gone over the points. That's why the points are my best bet, but I'm still putting a half a unit on the over 1.5 3-pointers made for him because like
Yeah.
I said, that's his job. Like, there's a direct correlation. There's 3 games over those last 8 where Embiid didn't play, and his minutes go from 33 a game to 26 because
No,
Embiid's
yeah.
not in there, so he's just not playing.
Yeah.
But with Embiid in there, yeah, I like him to go over both of those. He's hit 2 or more in 6 of the last 8 versus Philly as well. So
Yeah, 5.5 too for rebounding props. I mean, Brook Lopez, like you said, like he's just not necessarily the guy that you
that's high.
want to trust. I used to take his under a lot for
Oh yeah.
rebounds, and I used to get a lot of the 6.5, 5.5 for center. But it's like, dude, the
Oh,
guy,
that's crazy.
yeah, he doesn't really board. I mean,
How do you think
sometimes it can
Giannis
be,
gets 13 boards a game every year? Because Brook isn't
yeah,
getting any.
yeah. I mean, it just his job there is not really to do that. And we talk about all the time. They play a lot of drop coverage in that defense, but their drop coverage in this matchup is basically Brook Lopez dropping back for Embiid and Giannis kind of cleaning up a lot of the other things. So honestly, I even looked at using one of those boost things for like a Giannis, like say 12 boards, Lopez under 7.5 or something like that. I do think there's always value in that because whenever Lopez is that drop coverage guy to take away Embiid, it leaves a lot of rebounds for a guy like Giannis against a team that, it's quite literally Joel Embiid, and then your 4 is gonna be those, Tobias Harris, like Tucker's, like it's gonna be like a lot of those guys that aren't gonna compete with the rebounding as much as someone like Embiid would do.
Yeah, that's why sometimes Tobias Harris and PJ Tucker, or well, definitely Tobias Harris can be a sneaky rebound play. Sometimes when those dudes are just clearing each other out, and then he kind of comes in and
Yeah,
just
five
waltzes
and a
in
half for Harris.
parlays.
I don't hate it. I think
Yeah,
if I wasn't a Phillies fan, it's so tough because I really want to bet a lot of props in this game. I just hate the idea of having more than one or two in a game
yeah,
that's a season opener. So
yeah,
the
for
one
sure.
bet I did take in this game is I actually got. I lucky to get hate on Twitter for like the stupidest things. I got like troll almost about this pick, how it's like so terrible because it's like, oh, it's baked into the fact that Harden's not in. Yeah, no shit. It's the
Tyrese
line's baked
Maxey.
into the. No, I took Embiid over 4.5 assists.
Oh no, I took that
Uh,
too. Fuck out of
yeah,
here. I don't.
yeah,
What do you, first of all, what? No, who's
yeah.
giving you shit for that?
That's what I'm saying. So,
That's my third favorite bet. I had one more I like more than that, but like I fucking love
yeah.
that bet.
No, I'll say this because their reasoning was that
Send
it's
that person
baked.
my way.
Yeah, it's they well, it's common on my Twitter if you want to check
All
it
right,
out.
let's hope good.
It's such a funny prop because their point was that it's baked into the line that Harden's not in, but that's any injury. Anytime someone's hurt, it's baked into the line. If your starting quarterback's hurt, it's gonna be baked into the wide receiver one that you don't have that quarterback. Am I right? I mean, I don't know. It's always
First of all, my man's or woman's, whoever's talking to you out there, hopefully you're watching. Maybe not, but if you are, and this gets back to you, if it's baked into the number and he averages 6.5 assists a game without Harden last season in like 30 games, then if it was baked in the number, it'd be 5.5,
yeah.
and it's 4.5.
And I'll say this, the other thing they said was, like, don't get duped. Last season, it was 2.5. That's not true. It was not 2.5 when Harden was out. It
No.
was by the 8th game because I was betting it a lot. I actually have receipts in my Twitter. By the 8th game, it was a 4.5 line. It actually moved to 5.5 in the later half of the season when
Yeah.
Embiid was in without Harden. So, real
Here
quick,
yeah,
oh,
go ahead. Go ahead
I was
for it.
gonna say because I don't wanna, like this isn't like a hate thing. It was just kind of
Yeah,
explaining
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I do
For
think that
sports
it is
hate.
interesting. Yeah, 15 games last year without Harden. He had 5 or more in 12 of those games. And as you said, 6.5 he averaged. He had what 8 and 10 against the
Yeah,
Bucks last
he had
year.
a
I hate
10
using
in there.
last season averages like that, but the Bucks, even without Drew Holiday, should play a lot more of that drop coverage, and he can facilitate. I think he doesn't get enough credit for being able to pass out of the elbow, but I think he'll be able to pass out. And guys like Tobias Harris or Tyrese Maxey should do
Yeah,
wonders against a team that should be less defensively without guys like Drew Holiday to play the hammer.
100%. I like d the even though Drew's not here, like that doesn't impact the fact that the entire game plan for Milwaukee on defense is gonna be the same because they double team no matter what. Now, they definitely double team more when they're playing against Joel Embiid, but there's a reason that the last 2 seasons, not just last season, but even the season before with the exact same front court, by the way, with Giannis and Brook and Bobby Portis, like they still gave up the top 6. They gave up the 6th most assists per game to centers for 2 seasons in a row. That's not like a fluky stat. That's like our game plan is to double team because we also double team in the top 10 most in the league. And then when we
And
get Embiid, we
I don't know
double
if you
team
know
him like
I don't know if you
2/3 of
know
the time,
this. I don't know if you
right?
know this,
So
but Joel Embiid gets double teamed a lot, so it
breaking
happens. I don't know.
news. Breaking news. And you he gets double teamed less when you play James Harden out there, obviously. But yeah, at the end of the day, like there's a reason that he's gotten 5 plus assists in 5 of his last 6 games versus Milwaukee. Like this is
No, yeah.
a prime matchup with the player that takes the assist from him out of the game. You double team him, and there's still guys that can score out there.
Yeah.
I was too hard on Philly's supporting cast earlier before the season started for some reason, but like as quiet as of a person and impact as Tobias Harris can seem to have, like he might still be an important player that like can help Embiid bring this team along with Maxi to like a top 4 seed, you know?
Yeah, and to kind of put a pin on it too, like I said, 12 out of the last 15 games he went over. I just think, like I said, as much as he can score, we've seen it before with these, 6, 7, 8, 10 assist games. He can definitely do that. And with the pace this game should be having and just the hit that they take, I actually like I said, if I was able to, I really wanted to bet over 4.5 assists for Embiid, and I would love to take 27 points slash assists for Tyrese Maxey. I just don't know if I want to have 2 bets in one game, but man, Nick Nurse basically said in the offseason, if you read between the line, that Max is going to start playing 40, 42 minutes. We know how Nick Nurse runs his guys for 40 plus minutes. So
True.
I think Max is going to be the guy that takes over that role. So if you're just out there for a while, a PRA line of say like 30 and a half or 31 and a half, it's so tempting because being on the court, there's so many more chances for fast breaks, long rebounds, you name it. If you're playing that many minutes, especially with that hard, and I do think I might end up playing it or having like one of those boosted things you have with it because I do think Tyrese Maxey has a great matchup tonight.
Yeah. I think it's okay to take 2-ish players.
Yeah, but
Um,
then but then but
you're
then
getting
if
high
if
totals there.
Maxey has like 9 assists and Embiid scores 40 and doesn't get the assists, like, "Oh, wow, I just lost 2 units
I
on the
was
run
gonna
already."
suggest, like, it might seem like the maxi assist is what you're going after. Is it at 5.5 or 6.5?
It's at 5.5 for Maxey. Which is what I'm saying, that's why I went with Embiid. I think it opened at 5.5, like, -155 for Maxey for 4.5, I mean, and I just think it was appropriately priced for Maxey, and I think Embiid has a little bit of a short line there.
Yeah.
So if anything, I think for Maxey, I might end up playing the PRA or PR just because, as you said, with the big guys
Yeah.
taking each other out of the rebounds, he's not the best rebounder, but a few
He's
clutch
okay,
threes, you're out there
and
for
then
40 some minutes. He's
right.
not going to be. He's aggressive. He's not aggressive on the board, but he's also not someone that's going to let someone else run the break. He's going to look to run the break every single time if he can, just because he's by far. Would you say what top three in terms of just quickest guys on the break? He's just if he gets a ball in his
He's
hand on a fast
fast.
break, he's fast as
He's
hell.
fucking fast. Yeah. There's a couple guys in Sacramento even that are almost as fast, at
Yeah,
least,
I
but yeah,
played a lot
he's
of
up there.
Maxi. I played a lot of Maxi PR or PRA lines last year, and there's nothing better than a long rebound immediately taken to a layup. It's
Yeah.
nothing better than a 3 PR move in like
I love
2.6
it.
seconds. Yeah.
It's like watching Jokic tip the ball to himself on offense and miss it and tip it
And
and keep
then
getting
get like
offensive boards
or like
and
get an
tipping it.
assist out of it too. It's like
I
it's one of
love
those
it.
things if you yeah, there's
Let
there's
let
few things greater than that.
let me run back a couple of things because just to be clear, for first of all, ad block watching on YouTube, brilliant name, love the name ad block. At first, I thought Tone was like telling me to turn my ad blocker off or something. I was like, what? No, that's tight. He wanted to know. We said so far Brooke Lopez over 13.5 points. Brooke Lopez over 1.5 threes. If you can still get it at plus money, I imagine it's not any further down than like plus 125, 130 would be the lowest since last night when it was at like plus 155 is what it opened at for him to get 2 threes. So I think he's liable to take 6 and 33. If he takes 5, I know we're hoping for 40% from 3. But if he takes 6, I think we're gonna get 33% from 3 and be good for 2 of them. And then Brian and I both really like Joel Embiid over 4.5 assists.
And
It seems like a sucker thing, like you were saying, but like
yeah.
it's still a full like 1 or 2 assists below what he is likely to get in this game with
And
all the
I'll
factors.
double down if you're in the GoldBoys Discord. I took the FanDuel had a 100% boost. I took 8 plus assists for Embiid. My max was like the limit was $10, whatever. But 8 plus assists at 100% boost was like plus 1400 or something like that. So
Hmm.
just some fun. I
Yeah,
don't know if I would take it as a straight. It's like say plus 650, but
yeah,
at that boost, I think it's fun. And
yeah. I'm with it.
I used my DraftKings like they give a free $10 bet for anything on NBA, and I used it for Joel Embiid triple double 40 to 1. So
I
you
don't
know
hate it.
I
If you're
I was
gonna
gonna
if you
give it out I was gonna give it out on the show. I took it this morning 4 to 1. It's 22 to 1 now. So
I like it.
it's yeah, I
If you're
just
gonna
think
do if you're gonna do something like that, I also liked KD in the other game 33 to 1 to get a triple double
yeah,
because he's gonna do everything. And when I saw 33 to 1, I was like, "Man, he's done it 4 times in the last like 3 years,
that was
but
my favorite
let's see it."
things. We had some success last year with that when we had with the 3 triple up ticket that went viral last season.
Yeah,
I had some money on that. There's nothing better. So
sexy.
maybe there's a KD Joe Embiid triple double ticket somewhere out there. So we'll
Yeah,
see.
I love it.
What
Just
else
to
do you have
finish
for
up
tonight?
this game real quick. I also have Dame assists in this game. Might be a fun same game parlay with the Embiid assists as well. But the assists for Dame are at 7.5. That was plus money last night. Still probably like right around minus 105. But basically for that game theory, there's the idea that he doesn't do this. Like, he gets assists and he doesn't get as many points against Philly because he doesn't make it all the way to the rim when he's driving. That's been the last 2 games for him, 23.5 points per game and 11 assists per game, 11 in both of them. I thought about going under 26.5 points for him. I don't think he's going to be as shoot first, new team. Like, I think he does like the idea of passing with more weapons than he's ever had in his life on one team. So, like, I do with that what you will. I might sprinkle a little bit on the under. It's a clear, like, correlated theory to the assists. But, like, I also laddered the assists because last night it was 10 to 1 for him to get 12 assists. So I hit a little bit of that. And then if you want the 10 plus assists for him, it was plus 320 last night. be smarter at times to take a double double, just chop that around. But for the 10 assists, however you get the most money out of that, it's a little bit of a ladder with the over 7.5.
I like that. Yeah, I do think that's interesting. Because Damian Lillard, as good as he is, I mean, we saw his line get to like 34.5 or sometimes there's points, but new team, new weapons. I do think you can see more of a pass first approach from him.
Yeah. Do you have anything for the other game? There's a few little things here and there, but like I'm kind of a stay away on it to be honest.
Yeah, I don't really have much on that game.
Yeah.
I really do think this sounds bad, but it might be a game I'm gonna have some friends over after we go golfing and whatnot and do all that. So it might be one of those games where we'll put it on, maybe some live bets here and there. But I didn't see anything substantially crazy. I saw, as you know, I do a lot of modeling, and the top edge of the night with my modeling was D'Lo's overs, and I just can't do it.
No.
I get numbers are numbers, and there's like it's like, oh, you have a 33% edge on this PA line. I just can't trust that guy. I mean, he clearly has a role, he clearly has a volume, but he doesn't have the efficiency for me to confidently take him game two.
Yep. Agreed.
13 and a half is a low line, and he can maybe score 30, but if he does, you won't see me with a ticket. So that's
Right.
really what it is.
Agreed. I'm not touching that. I thought a Kogi over 8.5 points for plus money was a good bet. Like he's gonna start and play 32 minutes and guard the best player every night. And also now there's one less dude scoring and he took 9 shots last game. So if he takes at least nine again, I think your 9 points is pretty easy to come out of that. You could shoot pretty shitty and still do that. Yeah.
Yeah. For Thursday night football, you don't have anything locked in, right?
I actually just took a side. I don't really care about anything to do with anything anymore with these Bills. I took the points at 9.5. I just think it's too many points. It's a good situation. We just saw the Bucks not look awful against the Falcons, and I still think the Bills are awful. I just don't think they deserve 9.5 points with that defense so injured the way it is, and
Yeah.
the offense doesn't look good right now either. What were we kidding?
Yeah, that helps me out because I'm in the same boat. I think it could be a closer game, and even if it's not closer, I don't know if you realize this. The Buffalo Bills have tried for years to run a team that throws the ball 143% of the time, and they haven't realized that running the football is a integral part of the game. So I think I've been having so much success, and it shames me to do this because every time I come on these
Do it.
shows, I always have these low volume props. Today I'm going with the guy that's going to be maybe in the spotlight. I took Stephon Diggs over 85 and a half yards. I just think
Wow.
he gets 10 targets a game. He gets another team that the Bucks are such a pass funnel team because they're just so good at stopping the run. So if you give the Bills an excuse to not run the football, they're going to take it. I feel like Josh Allen might throw the ball like 35, 40, 45 times. And
Damn.
Stephon Diggs just, I mean, last week at 58 yards, down week for him. He's over this line in the only 2 games he didn't get over this line. He had 219 yards of air yards last week. So I take the stock that, yeah, he had a down week, but man, that's so many yards through the air. That's just so many yards that didn't get converted that you're
Yeah.
gonna see a lot of screen passes, a lot of deep plays. Like I just think he's gonna have a field day against a team that hasn't really been able to stop the pass as much. And if you're
Yeah.
giving me 12 targets, sure the 6.5 catches is tempting, but he has the big playability, and I do think that I'm gonna ride his yards, even though it's really
Yeah.
high.
I think that it's smart to get in on some offense in Buffalo and through the air while you can. Like it's about to get nasty. I was checking out the weather before the show for the game, and like I was like, man, I don't know if I feel comfortable taking any overs. And then I was like, oh, it's like gonna be like 70 degrees, and like not really much rain. If any, it's like a light drizzle in warm weather. Sunday, it's gonna be 48 degrees with like showers all day in Buffalo, which would have been miserable and an
Yeah.
under machine. But there's still plenty of opportunity to take, some overs if you like guys and Diggs at 86.5. Like, look, man, I mean, you can get scared of that kind of stuff, but like that's where the props are going to start being at for him and Tyreek Hill and stuff. So like, if you want to get in
So
on him doing
Cheddar
well,
Cheese in the comment also said he kind of ruined their offense since his tantrum. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where do I care if it helps the team get better? No, but if Stephon Diggs like a super uber talented and getting a lot of volume, I don't care if it helps the team at all. Please, I hope it hurts the team and then they have to keep throwing it. But I just do think that he's going to get a lot of targets like he always has.
yeah, no, I agree. I agree. He's on my fantasy team for a reason. So, did you have any running back receiving props? I know that's a big thing we love.
That's what I was gonna do, but I was gonna do James Cook 17
Yeah,
and a half. But that's what I was saying. I like to only have one prop per game, and
Yeah.
I think there's a better edge over Stephon Diggs over James Cook. So it's gonna be a Cook like 40-yard catch first drive. But I do think
Mm,
that Stephon Diggs just gets a lot of targets today.
dig it, man. No, if you have that much conviction, especially as someone who I know targets the lower volume ones, like get it on this one. Well, his receptions
Yeah.
are probably like 7.5, 6,
It's six and a
6.5.
half, like really
Yeah.
juiced though.
Yeah.
I wish there was better correlation. Like I wish there was last season. It was you were able to do a lot more of these parlays. I would do with catches and the yards. Say like instead of 85 and a half, take 80 and six, or something like that. But DraftKings took that away. Like you no longer can do those kind of props, and FanDuel charges so much vidge for it. It's not even worth trying to do that anymore.
Nice. Yeah, I think we should be targeting some Buck stuff too because this Buffalo defense is beat up, man. You make Mac Jones look good, then you've got some problems you got to hash out. So they're just they're beat up in the secondary and in the linebacker core. So it doesn't really matter if they
Yeah.
get to the quarterback, you know.
No, yeah, I agree with that. I do think
Yeah.
this is a game where it's so tough on the prop. I looked at Evershot, it's under rushing yards. I know that the Bills are terrible, but he's also terrible. But I just wish there was a better line than 46 and a half.
Yeah.
I wish I got over that 50 and a half, like it
Yeah.
was last week.
He's catching a lot.
Uh,
He's catching a lot of balls. It's always he's at 3.5 receptions, but yeah, the
yeah,
rushing is not there for them.
I'm actually
Um,
checking real quick on the show. Yeah, Josh Allen's passing attempts, you can get a 32 and a half. I lean the over there too.
yeah,
I do think that they're going to throw the ball a lot. Like I said, you give the Bills an excuse to not run the football, they'll take it every single time.
yeah, you're not wrong there. I like
I
that.
mean, their running back one is basically Stephon Diggs screen passes, so
Yeah.
it's basically the thing. So,
Yeah, man,
do you have
that's sad.
anything else
Gabe
that,
Gabe
to
Davis
add?
Gabe Davis might be a nice target tonight too, by the
Yeah,
way.
if he
Like, he
didn't
has been
screw me up
receiving the
last
volume.
week.
Yeah, he sucked
He
last week.
Yeah, one catch on 6 targets was really annoying for someone like me. That there's nothing worse than that happening when you have I got him at 33 and a half, it closed at 42 and a half. And as soon as that
Mhm,
happens, you just know it's not going to go your way. If you have
mhm.
that much CLV, you just know it's never going to go your way.
It's too good to be true.
Do you
I
have
feel you.
anything to add before we wrap up and kind of get out of here a little bit earlier?
Yeah, I know you got a dip, so let's yeah, we can roll, but like I said, I'm gonna take the Bucks to cover, honestly, and I do like the prop you're talking about. I like Cheddar Cheese's prop too, Mike Evans 25 yards per half. It's a pretty good bet there. So, like, to be clear, he can get 50, or he has to
I
get
think it's
25 in the half,
25 a
right?
half.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's good. I still like
Yeah. Yeah, I like that a lot. I do think, like I
You're right,
said,
Tone, I
so
did.
you picked a side anyway. So
I did. I listened to a couple of pods that some guys that are smarter than me convinced me, so I went with it.
that's fair. Um, That was great.
Yeah,
I think it was a really efficient show. We talked about a lot of the NBA,
totally.
and I appreciate you guys tuning in. It's noon now. I keep saying one at times in my head, but it's every noon, Monday to Friday. GoldBoys Live. We appreciate our sponsors, Pick It Sports and Sleeper Picks. Josh, good show.
Yes, sir.
If I don't see you tomorrow, we'll see you guys next week. Because as we said, every day at noon.
Noon.
Noon. I said noon. I was correct that time.
Peace.
All right, we'll see you guys.